Today, we're going to do a recipe from one of you. We were talking in the comments with a woman named Lisa, and she talked about home curing and home canning corned beef. And I thought, you know what, that sounds like something I need to do, right? I would love that with my hash browns in the morning. I would love that with some sauerkraut on a sandwich, and so that's what we're going to do today. So welcome to Go and Preserve. I'm Carter. I'm thrilled you're here today. Let's get started. I'm excited about this one. This is a two-step process, so we're going to do step one today, and then it'll be 5 to 7 days for me, but for you, it'll be just after this. Today we're going to make the brine and get the meat in the brine. So between the conversations with Lisa and all the videos she sent me, I have put together sort of my method of how I'm going to do this. Okay, so I have about 10 cloves of garlic, and I have about a quart of water. This is 2 quarts of water. I'm going to put in about half of this. Then I'm going to put in, let me see, I'm going to get up the directions I have here. Okay, half a cup of kosher salt. Let's see if I have half a cup of kosher salt. I may have to add some canning salt. Okay, so I have a half a cup of kosher salt going in, and then a half a cup of brown sugar. I don't keep brown sugar in the house, but I do keep regular sugar and molasses, which is all that brown sugar is. So I'm going to do a half a cup of regular sugar, and then I'm going to do a little glob of molasses. There we go. Maybe a little over a teaspoon. Okay, and then this is the spice blend that Lisa suggested. Sauerbraten. Oh, I'm not even going to try. It's by Adora. I'll put a link to it down below. It smells wonderful. It smells really, really good. So I'm going to use about half of this package. This is 1.75 ounces. Most of the recipes I saw said use about an ounce, so we'll go with that. Left me just a little bit left. And then this ingredient here is brand new to me. I had to do some investigating on it. So this is sodium chloride, which is just plain salt. So it's 93.75% sodium chloride, which is just table salt. Then it is I don't know the balance of that, whatever that is, 6-some odd percent sodium nitrite, which is usually something I try to stay away from in the store if I see it in the back of a package. You know, it's hard because I like bacon, I like ham, I like, you know, whatever. So, and then it has FD&C number 3 red in here, which is another thing I tend to stay away from. However, there are reasons for all of this. So we need the nitrite. That's the nitrite that's going to keep this safe, kill the botulism. So that to me is I'm just going to accept. I'm just going to accept that. I eat it in ham, so, you know, I'm going to eat it in my own corned beef. The salt is just fine. The red coloring, which actually makes this pink, this is called pink salt or curing salt. It's not the same as pink Himalayan salt. It is curing salt, and they dye it pink so that nobody makes a mistake and uses this in place of regular salt. So we use 1 teaspoon, according to this package, 1 teaspoon per 5 pounds of meat. And that's what I have today, it's 5 pounds of stew beef. So I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of this. Get it open. Okay. Not quite as pink as I thought it was going to be. Can you see in there? Anyway, 1 teaspoon. Okay, 1 teaspoon and she goes. Now, we're going to put this on the stove and let the sugar and salt dissolve. And then we're going to bring that off the heat and let it come down to room temperature by adding this other 4 cups of water. I'm gonna turn that into some ice water so we can bring this down to room temperature faster, because what we wanna do is make sure that this does not start cooking the beef. We want the beef to go in raw, to stay raw. So we don't want this to be any warmer than room temperature. Even lower would be better. And then we're gonna stick it in the refrigerator. And when you're doing a corned beef, if you're doing a big brisket, it may be 7 to 10 days in the refrigerator. The smaller pieces of meat that you use, so you did a half an eye of round or something like that. I'm using these beef stew meat chunks from Costco. So a smaller piece of meat may only take 5 to 7 days. I'm gonna do 5 days on these because these are really small bits of meat. I do have the same weight as anything else, but they're smaller pieces of meat. So I'm gonna do 5 days, and then we're gonna can them. And we're gonna can them as though we were just raw packing meat, because that's what we're doing. So I'm excited about this, so let's get started. I'm gonna get this on the stove, and we'll be back when we put all this together. All right, so while that heats up on the stove, I want it to come to a boil so that everything will dissolve in it. But I want to talk to you about a couple of other things I found in my research. Number one, don't panic over all the salt and the sugar and everything else, because we do rinse the meat thoroughly when it comes out of the brine. So we rinse off all that excess salt, sugar, whatever. So don't worry about that. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the canning of cured meats. This is one of those things that is not approved, not because it has been proven to be unsafe, okay? Let's make that really clear. Not because it has been proven to be unsafe, but because it hasn't been tested. So if something hasn't been tested, you can't say, well, you can't do that. Or at least I don't say that. You know, a little common sense. I'm gonna use all safe practices. Even the people who are, you know, by the book canning police can corned beef. So, you know, I don't know. I'm canning corned beef. Is it rebel canning? I'm not sure. I guess it is if you only go by the USDA. But I'm doing it. Lots of people have done it. And there are plenty of YouTube videos on doing it, even doing the packaged pre-cured corned beef with all the extra things in it, the maltodextrin and dextrose. And all right, so let's also talk about the different types of meat you can use. And this, I got my education from Lisa on this one, because I didn't know. I thought you always had to use brisket. I don't know why I thought that, but you know, when you see a prepackaged corned beef, it's always a brisket, right? So I thought, well, that was what you could do. Sometimes that can get expensive depending on the quality of the meat. So she said, well, use whatever you have. And I thought, well, okay. So I'm gonna use stew beef because it is super easy for canning. I'm not cutting anything up once it's cured. I'm just plopping these in the jar the same way I do when I can them for regular canned beef. So to me, this makes an eminent amount of sense, and it only needs to cure for, it says 5 to 7 days. I'm gonna do 5 because they are really small. So if it speeds up the process and saves me a step and makes it easier, this is what I'm gonna use. But I have seen videos of people using tri-tip. I have seen eye round. I've seen rump roast. So you can use any kind of meat that you want. All right, we're off the stove now. We're gonna cool down. I'm gonna pour in 4 cups of ice water. So all together for 5 pounds of meat, I have half a gallon of water, 1 teaspoon of the pink curing salt, half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of kosher salt, and about 1 ounce of pickling spice. So while this cools down, this smells so good. This pickling spice just smells amazing. You don't have to use this one though. You can use any pickling spice you have. I'll read you what's in this one. This is pepper, mustard seeds, onion, pimento, coriander, juniper berries, ginger, paprika, cardamom, carrots, bay leaves, cloves, lovage, dillweed, parsnip, leek, celery, parsley, tomatoes, sunflower seeds. Anyway, it smells delicious. Lisa had mentioned that I may want to add a cinnamon stick as well, and I think actually I'm going to do that. That flavor just seems to be absolutely great with the smell. So I'm going to grab one of those while this is cooling down. Okay, so just a small cinnamon stick. Put that in here. As I mentioned, we want this to come to room temperature or below before I put the meat in there. And I'm going to use this same pot to cure the meat in because I can weight it down just like you do with a fermentation project. You want to weight it down so that the meat stays below the liquid. And this plate, I think this plate fits. I don't know. We're going to find out. Maybe it doesn't. All right, let's test this. Okay, we're at 70 degrees, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in. And when I went to Costco to get this meat, I went for several things. And this was the only thing on my list that they had. So we're out of everything else. I don't know what's going on in the world, but anyway, I'm going to be putting more and more meat on my shelf, I think, just to be safe. I've seen this done in plastic bags. Lisa says that she uses a gallon glass jar. I've seen it done in just glass Pyrex containers, which is what I started out trying to use and couldn't find a way to make sure it stayed submerged the whole time. I think this is going to fit. So as I understand it from all the research I did, the most important measurement you need is how much curing salt per pound of meat. So it can be a little over, a little under on the water, as long as you can keep everything submerged. A little over, a little under on the kosher salt, the seasoning package. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that you don't normally see me use real sugar. I am using real sugar in this one because it is part of the curing process. Normally I would use allulose, but not this time. You can use regular sugar as well. You don't have to use brown sugar. I think they're just going to fit. The question is, will this fit with the plate on top? I don't know. Okay. Everything is submerged right now, so if it doesn't fit with the plate on top, I'll just keep an eye on it. But here we go. I'm going to do it this way. Make sure there's no air under there. I don't know if I can get the plate out now. We'll see. I shouldn't do it upside down. Maybe I'll do it the other way. There we go. All right, now we're talking. Doesn't look terribly pretty, so I don't want this to spoil up here, so let's get this out. Okay, now Lisa says that she stirs hers every day. Now it's spilling over. Okay, this is ready to go in the refrigerator for 5 to 7 days. I think I'm going to go with 5 because the pieces are so small. So I'll be back with you as soon as this is ready to jar up. All right, it's the moment of truth for the corned beef. It has been corning in the refrigerator for 6 days. So let's see how it is. All right, let's see how this looks. I'm going to bring you down here so you can get a better look at it, and then we're going to rinse it very thoroughly before we start canning. All right, so this is the brining liquid. A little bit has seeped on top of the dish here. I have stirred this a couple of times over the last 6 days. So, can't really tip it because there's too much liquid in there. I'm going to dump this into the colander I have in the sink here. And then we're going to rinse it really well. Okay. See all the leftover pickling spice. All right, let's get this rinsed. I'm going to use cold water because I don't want to start cooking the meat yet. There's my cinnamon stick. Alright, I have not been able to do a complete rinse on what's on the bottom. So I'm going to start getting some of this in the canning jars and then we'll take care of rinsing the bottom once I get there. Alright, so 6 days later, I'm not sure exactly how much in weight I had, but I'm sure it was probably 5-something pounds. So I think I'm going to do a couple of these in the small half pints. My tongs just broke. Let me try again. Okay, new tongs. Pack it in just like we do with raw beef, because it is still raw. Maybe cured, but it is still raw. It's not been cooked. So I'm going to do some pint jars and some half pint jars because David will just love to have a corned beef sandwich or corned beef and eggs or something, probably more often than I'll do it. It's one of his favorite things in the world, so he is so looking forward to this. So I'll do a couple of smaller jars. All right, I'm down to the part that wasn't able to rinse thoroughly, so I'm going to rinse this off and finish filling up my jars. And we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I ended up with 6 pints and 3 half pints. I don't think they're all going to fit in my electric canner, so I'll use the All-American. So I wanted to make sure I was clear, because I don't think I was at all, that I'm rinsing these off, yes, because I want the big peppercorns and all the big crunchy stuff where David could break a tooth. I want that off there. I don't want to pick through it later. But primarily we're rinsing this off to get rid of the excess pink salt. So it's not something you want to have more than is necessary. So I'm rinsing that off. It has done what it needed to do to the meat, and now it can go away. All right, I'm going to get these rims cleaned up. I don't think I really have anything on them except maybe water, but we'll see. Maybe I'll find some spices or something. I always find something on the rims. It is always worth, it's a little bit of pink, always worth wiping your rims really well. So I have packed these to 1-inch headspace, and I'm going to pressure can them for 75 minutes. They smell really good. It smells like corned beef in here. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do a taste test on these, and I know David wants to be part of that because he is so excited about this. He can't stand it. So I'm looking forward to it. Well, see, not much. All right, let me get the lids on, rings on, and we'll get everybody in the bathtub. Okay, I have them all ready to go into the canner. I'm gonna pop them in for 75 minutes. And for my elevation, it'd be 10 pounds of pressure if I use the All-American, so make sure you check your elevation. And if I use the electric canner, you don't have to worry about the elevation. It kind of figures out how to get the temperature up where it needs to be anyway. So I think I'm gonna have to go with the All-American on these, which is fine. I love my All-American, but I got stuff to do today. So I was hoping to use the electric canner, but I'm gonna have to pay a little more attention. All right, I'll get these started and we'll come back when they're ready and I turn them into something wonderful. All right, so it's the next day and the corned beef is ready, so we're gonna give it a shot tonight. I don't know if you can see that. It definitely does look pink compared to my regular beef. So we're excited about this. David is looking forward to a Reuben. So that's what we're gonna have. I'm gonna show you the bread we're using because it's kind of not normal. This is just some keto bread that we're using. So feel free to use regular bread. Wouldn't blame you a bit. Anyway, on to our thing here. We're going to use our homemade mustard. I unfortunately don't have any fermented sauerkraut right now, but David did run and buy some at Kroger today, so we're going to use that. And here's our corned beef. Put seal on it. I don't know if you can see it. It is definitely pink. Let me pour out some of the juice. Oh yeah. Okay. It certainly smells wonderful in here. There's corned beef. We're going to turn this into a sandwich today to have a Reuben, but it would certainly be excellent with some hash brown potatoes as well. If you've been with me very long, you know I love my corned beef hash. So I'm excited about that. All right, let's see if we can turn this crazy keto bread into sandwiches, and then we're going to see if I can remember how to use the George Foreman. I know you'll probably laugh at me, but it's been a long time since I've used it. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to take some mustard, good grainy mustard. We don't use cheese, but some cheese on this would certainly be wonderful. Or I think sometimes they put like a Thousand Island dressing on a Reuben sandwich as well. That would be really good. Think about it. All right, George over here is ready. You see this? Probably not. I probably blocked you. This smells so good. I hope that Lisa will chime in on this. She is the one who walked me through how she does it, hoarding it at home herself. She just canned some as corned beef hash with potatoes. I think it's ready. All right, let's now sauerkraut. Pile it up with some sauerkraut. David has been looking forward to this taste test for 2 days. I didn't even tell him it was in the fridge when it was corning because he would never have made it 6 days. Okay. Okay, wish me luck with George here. I need to move the butter around somehow. Here we go. I had some butter melting in here. Or actually butter flavored coconut oil. Put that down for a minute, hope for the best while I get the other one ready. I have it on 350. I used to use this thing all the time. I made omelets with it, I made waffles with it, and I just don't have any countertop space here, so it's been kind of tucked away, and I've forgotten how to use it. Okay, I'll be on this one. We should try a little bit of just corned beef. What do you think? Tastes just like corned beef. So mine went for 6 days. I used the little beef cubes, you know, that you get for beef stew meat. And that was good. It could have gone another day, I think, but it was pretty darn good. sauerkraut on this one. David is hovering, waiting for his dinner to be ready. All right. Let's see how this one's doing. Oh, wow. Shockingly good. Not the neatest sandwich. Look at my mess. Can you see my mess? Not the neatest sandwich to make either. Maybe you want to taste the last little bite?
Absolutely. Want some sauerkraut with it.
Your sandwich is going to be ready in a minute.
You know I can't wait.
That's a big peppercorn. Don't crack a tooth on it.
Yeah.
I missed peppercorn in there. You're not in camera. You're not in the camera.
I'm happy though.
That's good, right?
Oh, yeah, it's really good.
I'm going to pull your sandwich off first.
Oh yeah?
Oh.
That works. That's good, babe.
So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Who's Lisa?
Lisa's the one who gave me her recipe for corning the beef.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lisa. That looks good.
It does look good. This one put on first, so I assume it's done. I feel like we need some pickles and some chips to go with this. Should brought some pickles up from downstairs, babe.
And some cheese.
I know you want cheese. This one.
Cheese is good.
All right, let's cut this so you can see. It's going to be a keto bread issue, I think.
Yeah, breaking up a bit.
Yeah. With crusty rye would be much better. There you go. Looks good. Smells good. All right. Come in the screen.
Is there mustard on it, sweetie?
There is mustard on it, but you're going to have to duck down or something. You're too tall. I didn't set the camera for you.
It's good, and that mustard is really good.
What's the mustard I made?
I know, that's great.
Good.
I need about 5 of these.
That's all the bread I have. You have one, and I just went through all the meat.
Thumbs up on that. Can I have more mustard?
Of course.
I have some on the side.
More sauerkraut on the side too if you want it.
What's that?
More sauerkraut on the side too if you want it.
Yeah, good.
That's good.
This is what I want. Been waiting for this for a while. Everybody, this is really good. I suggest you try it.
All right. So David's was a hit. This
Still a
one.
fork.
Yeah, just pick one. There it is.
Thanks.
Okay. So here is number 2 coming out. Let's see if I can cut this one a little bit better. This bread is not as cooperative as regular bread. Let's see. Just let most of it fall out. Look! It's so great. All right. I hope you're all going to go make some corned beef now. And thank you, Lisa, very much. This is a huge hit. Bye-bye.